2-all at home to Dungannon. It's our first point at home this season. A point gain, 2 points lost. What's your thoughts?
Certainly a point gain with 6 or 7 minutes to go whenever we're down in the game. At the start of the game, if you had asked me, we were looking to win the game. With the way the game went, we take a point and we move on.
In terms of the performance, what's your thoughts on that? Because I mean, second half showed a lot of guts and a lot of determination and a lot of pace and a lot of energy, actually, particularly in the last stages of it. First half, maybe a bit of a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, well, the first half I always felt was going to be cagey, and it turned out that way. At one each, really, there's nothing in the game. There's probably a moment of brilliance from Kieran O'Connor and a slack bit of defending from our saves. The manner of conceding the second goal is what we're really disappointed with. If we had gone in at one each, I think that second half performance was coming, and we possibly could have went on to win the game. That being said, the boys dug deep then, and they answered the questions that were asked of them. We defended our backs when we needed to in the second half, and we dominated play without maybe having clear-cut chances, which is something we need to consider. But certainly if the boys give that sort of effort and endeavour and application, that the quality will come and the luck will change. But we have to be happy with elements of the second half performance and move on.
Something you've said probably in a number of post-match interviews this season, you need to give the fans something to sort of hold on to. Boys did exactly that. Is that sort of exactly what you've been talking about?
Absolutely, and listen, with as I say, 6 or 7 minutes to go, we're shooting into the shed end, which we love, and it's perfect for the fans who brought us home with that goal there. Tommy takes the corner right in front of them, and Adam is a super run, a good header, and that's what the fans want to see. It's what we want to deliver. It's just we need to do it more.
And Adam, he gets the equaliser. He is probably a very unlucky one that hits the post after that, and then one probably just gets caught under his feet. But he made a difference already. Come on.
He did, certainly. Yes, he was probably unlucky not to be in the starting 11. But we asked for people that were maybe disappointed to channel that disappointment in the right manner, and certainly the subs once again that we made impacted the game positively, and it shows probably it's testament to the depth of squad that we have, and certainly Adam will grow in confidence from that goal and hitting the post. It looks like we're going to win the game, but a superb impact from all the subs really. Brian and Adam Sally down the right worked very hard and put 3 or 4 balls into the box that on another day probably would have been finished.
In terms of, you talk about the squad there, Ryan McGivern gets his first minutes in the pitch, full 90 minutes, and thought that he looked as if he hadn't been away. Liam Bagnall, he's played 245 minutes prior to tonight, plays a full 90 minutes, and I think made a difference. I mean, is that sort of the biggest positive outside of the result? Yeah,
absolutely. The two lads have been chomping at the bit to get back involved, and we're delighted to have them back on board. But as we talked about before, they needed to be right. Liam has played previously probably under duress, and it's testament to his character that he has done that. Ryan's been out, but we know what we get from Ryan, and the two lads, we were very pleased with them. Ideally, probably we wouldn't have wanted them to play 90 plus minutes, but it's testament to, I suppose, the work that the physio's done as well to bring them back in shape, that they're able to last 90 minutes.
And just lastly, next week away to Linfield, David Healy and Ross Oliver were here tonight. I mean, what way do you sort of approach that game coming off the back of this? I mean, you take obviously the positives of scoring a relatively late equaliser and picking up your first positive result at home, going into a place where we obviously struggled badly last year at Windsor.
Yeah, listen, when Windsor can do that to any team. We'll review it this week. We'll analyse what they're doing and come up with a game plan that's suitable. But we know that our lads like to play on the front foot. We've sort of tried to contain some of the teams, the so-called top 6 teams. And to be fair, as I've said previously, that's on me, and it maybe hasn't worked. If we take the shackles off like we did in the second half tonight, and play on that front foot, who knows what can happen. Linfield are a very, very good team with quality all over the pitch that can hurt you. So we've got to be alive, probably defensively more so, and tuned in. But when we get moments, we have to really convert them into chances and be clinical with them chances.